All right, now joined by Alabama head coach Nate Oats. And Nate, first of all, not only a number one seed, but the number one overall seed at Alabama. Now, I will say, when Greg Byrne hired you a few years ago, I scratched my head on this one. Not because I didn't think you were a good coach, but I just didn't know how it would fit with your accent down in Tuscaloosa. It has obviously worked out well. What's it been like this year? I mean, again, to look back on the ride and now the number one overall seed in this tournament.
Jeff, don't think I don't remember your tweets after he hired me. I got a long memory. We gotta go pull those up. Are those like the bad? What do they call those when you pull the tweets up from 4 years?
I didn't say it was a bad hire. I just said it was outside the box.
Well, let's go pull them up and see what they said. No, it's worked out all right. Listen, I'll say this: when I landed in Buffalo after losing the NCAA tournament that year, and I had the voicemail from Greg, and I called my agent. Rick said, we're going all in on this one. They got all the resources you need to win at a high level, and they win at every other sport. There's no reason they shouldn't be winning at basketball. And I agree with him. I took the job without ever seeing the place. You know, I think Greg Byrne's one of the best ADs in the country. Alabama's infrastructure supports athletics. They need to build a new arena, but other than the arena that you play in, which is fine for us as players, you know, it's more build a new one for the fans than anything. Like all the other facilities are unbelievable, so all the support's great. So there really was no reason we shouldn't be winning. I think our style of play is one that good players want to play in, and we've been able to sell that and get some really good players, as evidenced by Brandon Miller this year. But we've had, he's not the only one we've had. We had Kyra Lewis win the lottery after the first year. Then Josh Primo went in the lottery. Herb Jones started as a rookie after getting drafted early second round. Really should have been on the all-rookie team. I think he was sixth in the voting. J.D. Davidson drafted. So we've had 4 guys drafted in 3 drafts. We're going to have 2 more drafted this year with Brandon Miller and Noah Clowney, it looks like. So it's going to be 6 guys drafted, 4 first-rounders, 2 second-rounders in 4 years. If Clowney goes in the first round, like all indications are showing. So, you need good players to win. We've got a system that good players want to play in. We've got a brand that people want to come play for. Everybody associates Alabama with winning, and we've been able to flip it. Sometimes you got to get a little lucky at Buffalo. I got a little lucky with C.J. Massenberg being available. He turned out to be pretty good. Brian Hodgson did an unbelievable job recruiting, Brandon Miller, but, we were fortunate to get him. His dad played football here. He was a little bit of an Alabama fan from up in Nashville. He came to a bunch of football games, but he's a great kid that's really bought into, somebody asked him the question, did you ever think about shutting it down? And no, I promise you, my conversations with him, no chance. He's Alabama through and through, and he wants to win at the highest level for Alabama. So we were fortunate. It's been a good ride. We're going to try to keep it rolling here.
My partner Doug Gottlieb said if your name was Kentucky, if you guys had Kentucky on your chest instead of Alabama, you would be the prohibitive favorites in this NCAA tournament. That you've got 2 of everything, really 3 point guards. Brandon Miller, maybe the best college basketball player, certainly prospect. You've got athletic bigs, you've got veterans, you've got young dudes. How do you handle this going into the NCAA tournament with that type of pressure on you?
Yeah, it's nice that Doug likes to put all that pressure on me. I agree with his analysis that we've got 2 of everything. We've got I said going in, we've got the deepest roster we've had. We were 3rd in the country in defensive efficiency 2 years ago when we won the SEC regular season and tournament. Last year, I think we were 92nd. Big part of that was we didn't have depth. Amari blew out his knee. We didn't have enough depth. If guys weren't playing well, we didn't have options. They played. Guys don't want to guard this year, you just don't play. That's it. So, and that's not really the reason Noah Gurley hasn't played in some games, but 2 out of our last 4 games he didn't play.
Crazy.
And then we get to the SEC tournament, and he, Mississippi State plays too big, so we decided to go more big instead of small. Because Brandon, it's great having Brandon at 6'9" that can really play 1 through 4. We put him at the 4, we go smaller with guards at 1 through 3. We keep him at the 3, we go bigger. We use Clowney and Gurley at the 4, Pringle and Bediako at the 5. Well, Mississippi State's big, so we went bigger. I played Gurley more. He played great. His first 2 games in the SEC tournament, he's 4 or 5 from 3. I mean, this kid, and I'm really getting goosebumps. They had an unbelievable article written about him in the Tuscaloosa News. This kid hung in there, worked his tail off. I'm getting old. I still try to exercise. I had to see the trainer. I'm in the training room getting some treatment myself right before we leave to go to the SEC tournament. I think it was the day before we left. It might have been the day we left. It was either the day we left, the day before. And he comes in drenched in sweat. We practiced that morning. This is 4 hours later. I'm like, what? Like, what are you doing? You just get out of the cold tub? He's like, no, I just got done working out. I shot. So even though he hadn't played in 2 of the last 4 games, he's still all in. Every huddle he's leading, and he plays. So guys that don't play very many minutes, we got 4 McDonald's All-Americans on the team. Some of them go through games and don't play. Javon Quinterly's come off the bench all year, was playing great. We needed a better start, so we decided to start him. I mean, he was fine coming off the bench. He was fine. Yeah,
he told me there were times when you tried to put him in the game, and he would tell you, no, coach, let Jaden Bradley roll here. He's playing well.
It's true. And Jaden's the same way. I mean, Jaden told me, no, he told me we need to start Javon Quinterly. He goes, we haven't been starting well. I think we'd do better with Javon. Yeah, start him. Some McDonald's All-American telling me to start another one. We got really good chemistry. These guys have been great. They've really come to, they're the tightest group I've had in a while.
How much of that, Nate, how much of that is some of the adversity that you think you've had to face off the court of them coming together even closer?
You know what? There's definitely a part of that. When you go through something like we've gone through, I'm going to be honest, they've handled it pretty well. They've never lost sight of the fact that, there's a tragedy occurred, and I think they've done a really good job of leaning into each other, being there for each other. Because it's a really tough situation, and it's really heartbreaking what happened. And you need somebody to lean on. They've leaned on each other, and then they've done a good job of just focusing on the task at hand when they've got to the basketball side of it. And they've worked really hard, and they've accomplished a lot together. So, this is going to be a group that these guys, in my opinion, 20 years from now, they're still going to be talking. They're
especially if they go to the Final Four and win the national title.
Yeah, if we make a deep run, for sure. But I think this is a group that no matter what happens here, they're really tight, and they've done a good job keeping the perspective what it needs to be, but really pulling in with each other.
All right, the biggest question I have for you here is, honestly, what's your biggest concern going into the NCAA tournament? Again, you've handled pressure off the court, distractions, whatnot, your team, and I didn't know if they'd be able to, especially with so many young dudes on this team. They've done a great job staying focused or getting refocused, because I think you went through a little bit of a spell there where you didn't play as well as you would have liked. What do you worry about most going into the NCAA tournament?
I still worry about the things that have popped up and caused us problems all year, like turnovers. You can't go into this NCAA tournament game against a good team, turn the ball over 20 times, expect to win. So, with Javon playing better, Jaden Bradley's been solid. Really, he's like a winner. I think, and Mark Sears is capable of playing the point. Between the 3 of them, if one of them's struggling, we've got 2 other guys that can play. So hopefully we can get that where we don't turn it over. Our defensive intensity, when it's there, and if you watch the SEC championship, it was definitely there. We might be the number 1 defensive team in the country, but we've been a little inconsistent with that. You watch our Gonzaga game, everybody just tried to make it a shootout. Well, I think we learned after that game, if it's going to be a shootout, we're not the most talented offensive team in the country. All right, we're not going to win those. We've got a lot of talent, but our talent is because we got a lot of really good two-way players. You know, Brandon Miller's an unbelievable two-way player. He's not just an offensive talent. He's 6'9" long and plays hard on defense. Noah Clowney's a great two-way player. Look, Javon Quinterly's defense on Wade Taylor in the SEC championship.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I mean, he didn't score a field goal till over halfway through the second half. So, like, our defensive intensity cannot wane. It has to be the full 40 minutes every game. So, really, those are the two biggest things. Like, if we bring it on the defense and then rebound, I'm going to be honest, we're a great rebounding team when we put our minds to it.
Yeah.
There's been some times when we've given up too many offensive boards. You can't give a really good team multiple chances.
So turnovers, defense, rebounding. All right. Brandon Miller. Listen, he's shot 40% from three this year. Tell me, and you can't, that you expected that. There's no way you thought he'd shoot 40% from three. Like, I know you're going to try to tell me you thought he was a better shooter than other people did from three, but 40 from three as a freshman?
It's actually a great question because I want to go back now that you've asked it. We've got an analytics company that comes in the summer because they try to build models, and they interview the head coach and the three assistants and say they want me to predict what players are going to shoot. And now the guys that have played, Mark Sears, 2 years, Dom Welch, they've got their models. They're good. The new guys, they're asking us, like, what do you think, Jaden Bradley, you know, all these guys? Like, I want to go back and look and see what my answer was because I can't remember. So I want to see what my answer was to them. And I think we did that at the end of the summer. Look, there's no way I thought he was going to shoot over 40 coming out of high school.
Right.
Like, because, I mean, we watched him play in AAU, and he's really talented. He's skilled, but he never, you know, he's playing on a really talented team. He had Nick Smith on his team. He had, like, so, but, man, I'm telling you, when he came in the summer and we started practicing, we had the foreign tour. So we had the extra 10 days of practice. Like, it became real apparent to the staff that this was a real special kid. I mean, I was talking to an NBA assistant last night that he's like, man, I came back in September, told our entire staff, Alabama's got a kid that's better than any wing we have on our NBA roster right now. Yeah. Like, you guys better get down there. Like, so no, I did not expect this coming in, but by the end of the summer,
you did.
Yes.
Hey, the trip, I forgot you took a trip and had those 10 practices.
That was great. It was awesome.
How much did that help you? Because looking back on it now with a young team with a completely revamped roster, how important do you think that was to you guys being able to get the number one seed and the success, you know, winning the SEC,
both
the regular season and the tournament?
It was huge because we're so young. I mean, 4 freshmen are heavy they're in the top 8 in the rotation. 4 out of our top 8 guys, minutes wise, 4 of them are freshmen. Our starting 2, Mark Sears, is a transfer. So, like, I mean, you look at our top guys, Amari Burnett had sat out last year.
Right.
He didn't play. So all these guys needed time together. So, and it also gave us 10 days, 9 days, whatever it was in Europe, where you're in foreign countries that don't speak English, and these guys had to, like, bond.
They probably didn't have these.
They had them, but I don't know if they all wanted to pay the fees to, you know, use them over there.
The extra, pay the extra when you use up all your data.
You got it. So I mean, I saw guys in groups on, like, little scooters running around.
Yep. It helps.
Yeah, it was awesome. So I think it was good. And then I'll tell you the one other thing that really, really helped us. We had a close scrimmage, and I don't know if you're on top of all these. I don't know if you remember the one we had. We got drilled at TCU.
Yep.
But I'm telling you, we had to reset the score at halftime because they would not have played. TCU would have quit playing hard, and our guys, it was like 30 at the half.
Really?
Like, welcome to.
I heard you got beat bad. I didn't realize it was that bad.
And then the second half, Brandon decided, like, we're not getting embarrassed like this again. And he decided to take the whole thing over in the second half. Like, but it was bad. So, you know what? That's great. We bonded. We had this great culture. You know, everybody's got good culture in the summer. Ours was, you can tell it's a little special. It was special in Europe. Then we come in and just get hammered the first time we play anybody else. all right, so let's see how good a culture we really got. And then we had a players only meeting that I didn't even know they had right the morning after that one. I think Noah Gurley, Javon Quinterly, some of the veterans, like, no, we're not doing this. Like, and that kind of changed everything. The focus, everybody picked it way up after that. So.
All right, perfect. All right, Nate, I appreciate it. Good luck in the tournament.
You're as
And,
bad as our players. Every time your phone goes off, you're distracted. That's why we collect the phones before every meeting.
I know. Well,
You're
very,
worse.
very
You're
true.
worse. I mean, I get it. It's your job. You got some breaking news. Somebody just got fired or hired. But you're worse than the players, Goodman.
Yes, I am.